Hello, everyone. Welcome to Smart Sex, Smart Love. We're talking about sex goes beyond the taboo, and talking about love goes beyond the honeymoon. My guest today is Jim Taylor, and I'm very excited because I know him from TikTok, a prolific collector of all things Barbie. He has traveled the world for her, attending events in Milan, Paris, New York, Tokyo, and across the United States. He co-chaired the 2020 and 2021 National Barbie Doll Collector Conventions, the largest gathering of Barbie enthusiasts in the world. He was chosen twice by Mattel for its Collectors Advisory Panel, and he received the Barbie's Best Friend Award in 2020 in recognition of his contributions to the Barbie community. He resides in Palm Springs with his partner Brian and their 4 cats and several thousand dolls, which I'm so jealous. Today he will talk about boys and their Barbies. Welcome, Jim.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's so great to have you here. And so, as we were talking before, it's like we know each other, right? Because we've talked so much on TikTok.
Right, you chat and you see each other and you see each other's videos and you feel like you know this person, even though in reality you really don't, but it feels that way.
It does feel that way. And I love your videos. They're so well made. You have a good voice for it. It's fun to watch. But I have to ask you, I never thought about this. I guess I didn't know you had several thousand dolls. Where do you keep them?
It's a struggle for sure. I am lucky enough to have, I have a modest, it's a 4-bedroom house, and 2 of those bedrooms are dedicated to Barbie. Yeah.
Several thousand dolls are in 2 bedrooms?
Yeah.
Put away or?
And I do have a display in the living room as well.
Okay. But I mean, are they put away in those rooms or all out?
No, they're all like this. I would say I have probably about 1,000 that are displayed. Yeah. And then I have another 1,000 that are in boxes and need to find new homes or something.
Oh, all right. All right. Now that makes sense. All right, good. All right. Well, let's get started. The first question we have here is, how did your Barbie collecting begin? What fascinated you about this type of collecting?
I think I'm unlike a lot of collectors in that I sort of fell into it. I didn't intend to start collecting Barbie, but I've always loved toys. The story I always tell is when I was younger, I think I was maybe 12 or 13, and my dad came to me and said that I was too old for toys now. You're a man, you're too old, and I was devastated. So I didn't get any new toys really, but I would go and I would look at them all the time. And I never stopped that all into my early 20s. And at some point in my 20s, I thought, I'm a grown person. I can buy this if I want. And I decided to make myself a little gay toy shelf. And I had a shelf on my bookcase that was, like Tinky Winky and Wonder Woman and all these sort of gay icons. Yeah. And then I said, well, I can't have a gay shelf and not have Ken. So I started looking for a Ken. And it was all downhill from there.
I love that. I love that. My mother always would never let me play with dolls. So I did it privately. My sister never wanted to play with her dolls, so I did it by myself. So when eBay came out, what was that, 97, 99 or something?
Yep.
I went and bought all the dolls. Like behind me, you can see I just went crazy myself. And I wanted the growing hair Cher doll. I wanted that so badly. And every one of them are broken. Some little girl played with it to death, and every one of them are broken. You don't happen to have a working one, do you?
I have one in the box, just like that's her behind you, right?
Yeah, but does the growing hair work? Because the key doesn't, her hair won't move.
To be honest, I haven't tried it, but I have the same one, yeah. Okay. Now I'll have to go check.
Yeah, you'll have to check. If you do, I might want to buy that from you for any price, whatever it is. I'm kidding. All right. So did you play with Barbies growing up? And if so, what was the reaction from parents, siblings, and friends?
I think my story is very different from every other male collector that I've met. Every male Barbie friend that I have has that story of playing with dolls in secret, or, having them at their grandma's house or at their aunt's house or at their neighbor's house or hiding them under their bed or in their closet. But I didn't really do that. I do remember playing with a Donny Osmond doll. I'm Gen X. So I remember watching the Osmond show and holding the Donny Osmond doll and watching it. But I think that was probably my sister's doll. I just assumed it was mine because I was a boy.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I did have the $6 Million Man and Bionic Bigfoot, which I loved. But outside of that, my sisters weren't even really into Barbie. It wasn't a big thing in our house.
So you didn't have like a secret interest in playing with them or doing their hair or dressing them?
No, I love Transformers and He-Man and all the sort of stereotypical boys' toys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know where I went wrong, but now I have a house full of Barbies, so I'm making up for it.
You're making up for it now. We used to do here. I used to do gay men's retreats in the '90s, and we had a what part of the retreat was playing with toys. And I went to the store. I was in charge of it, and I got all these girl toys. And it turned out like there were a lot of gay men like you that I had no idea that gay men like you would have the interest in male toys, male figures and all that. And they were like upset with me that there weren't any. So did you always know that you were gay? I'm assuming you're gay, but you got to tell us. You said you have a partner named Brian.
Yes, I identify as gay. So when I was a kid growing up, I grew up in, it shouldn't be hard to explain, but it kind of is. I grew up in northern West Virginia, which was pretty close to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So in the Ohio Valley. It's kind of like if you went 2 miles left, you're in the Midwest. If you go 2 miles right, you're on the East Coast, but everybody says I'm from the South. The point was there wasn't anyone that looked like me in that town. So I was always different. And I honestly don't know if my sexuality was part of that or not. But, just by virtue of being half white and half Filipino, I knew I was already different. So that was kind of hard for me to figure out. I don't really have any clear memory of that until I was, 12 or 13 and started to figure all that stuff out.
Okay. Right. Because you didn't have any other indicators. You weren't into girl things.
Right. And, to be honest, when I was growing up, I didn't consider myself gay because since we're on your podcast, I'm just going to be frank and say I didn't really identify as gay because if you were gay, to me, that meant you wanted to put on a wig and a dress and lipstick and be a girl. And I had no interest in any of that. I just wanted to suck dick.
Yeah. Right. Yes.
So obviously I wasn't gay. I just thought I was this sort of anomalous thing that, nobody else in the world really was.
It's so interesting how we try to make sense out of that, right? Because we don't know. Nobody's telling us what it is to be gay or not to be gay.
Right. And we didn't, I'm Gen X, like I said, and we didn't have that on television. We didn't have those examples growing up, or very few, and most of them were not positive stereotypes.
Right. Do you remember the Gay Bob doll? Are you too young for that?
No, I do remember it, and I have him, and I love him.
You remember the commercials for him? No, I remember their actual commercials.
There were commercials for Gay Bob.
I swear to God, yes. That's how I knew.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah. It's kind of amazing that in the 70s that would be a commercial, isn't it?
Yeah, for those who don't know, Gay Bob was the first openly gay doll. He was, quote unquote, anatomically correct. He came with a purse and boots and a plaid shirt and an earring, all the ways that someone is gay. Because if they have an earring on their left side, I think it was, right? That means we're gay. That's how everybody can tell, besides carrying the purse.
Right. And he had an arm that went like this. Did you know that? Remember that?
Yeah. What I love best about him was his booklet. He came with a booklet inside that had all these different fashions. There were all sort of gay stereotypes. It was very kitsch, very tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah, very offensive today. In today's world, they would eat him alive.
Yeah, if he came out now, that would be iffy. That would be
right. Right. But our image is right. We had nobody. I heard a comic once say, my role models as a kid was Dr. Smith from Lost in Space. And poor Dr. Smith wasn't even gay. I don't know. He was campy. Did you find it was harder to come out as gay or come out as a Barbie? Oh, come out as gay or come out as a Barbie collector?
So these days, I think, granted, I live in Southern California in the Palm Springs area, so it's a little bit more of a bubble. I understand. That's why I live here. But here, truly, nobody cares if you're gay. I mean, it's like big whoop. Half the town is gay. They really don't care. But a Barbie collector, you still get a little bit of that stigma from people. Most people smile. Most people are, approving. But there's always a little bit of a raised eyebrow. There's some questions, and it's different. It's different. It's much easier to come out gay, I think, than it is to come out as a Barbie collector.
Now, when you say you're getting those looks from other gay men or straight people,
everyone. I would say, most of those interactions are with random straight people, like, at work or friends of friends or those sorts of things. And I think it has gotten a little more accepted since the Barbie movie came out and that was so big. And she was in the sort of pop culture moment that she had last year. So that definitely helped it become more accepted, weirdly. But yeah, you still get a look here and there.
I know. When my clients come in, they say, "Oh, do you work with children?" And I say, "No." I say they're mine and don't touch them.
Yeah, exactly. I've been at the cashier before at Target and like, "Oh, are you buying this for your daughter or for your niece?" I'm like, "No, this is for me. It's mine."
How do they respond? They probably are polite, right?
They usually laugh or they chuckle. They're fine. The first time I got asked that question, I was caught off guard and I don't even remember what my response was. But, now you sort of mentally prepare yourself just in case.
Right. Yes. How many Barbies do you have? Oh, you already told us, and how involved is the collecting process?
The collecting process, it's not complicated. People ask me that a lot on my TikToks. They want to know, like, what should I collect, or should I buy this doll or that doll, or what about this or that? And my answer is always the same: buy what you love, and you'll love your collection. That's it. It's not hard. It's not random. Buy what you love, and you'll love your collection. If you like a doll, I say buy it. This is where I spend my stupid money. People spend their money on, they buy fancy bags, they take trips around the world, they live in a big house or drive a fast car. That's all great. I don't do any of that stuff. This is just, for the most part, this is where I spend my stupid money, is on dolls, because it's what makes me happy.
I love it. And I'm telling you, I can't say enough. I'm not trying to just promote your channel. Your TikTok is so well done. I love to watch how you unpack things. I like to watch how the angles you do. I don't know. You do all your own photography, right?
Yeah, I just sort of wing it. And I mean, it's really nice of you to say thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Later, as they say. But I'm just doing what I like. I'm just doing what I love. And at some point when I first started that TikTok, I just wanted to make content. And I honestly thought if 10 or 20 people watch it and follow me, that's all I'm here. I'm going to make it for me. And I genuinely had no intentions of it blowing up or doing anything else. I'm like, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to find the dozen people that are enjoying it too, and we're just going to play dolls together. That was my only intention ever. And I think I was lucky.
Yeah, you did get you do well. Do you ever think about writing a book about it?
I actually have thought about doing sort of reference guides to different aspects of the Barbie world, Barbie collecting, because there are a lot of different ways to collect and different ways that I always say that we all collect Barbie, but we all collect completely differently. Like some people are more focused on celebrity dolls. Some people, I know people that only have black dolls, or people that only collect Ken, or people that only collect ball gowns. Even though we all collect Barbie, we all do it differently. Yeah, I collect everything.
Yeah, you do. And I like that you do, because and then sometimes you'll put something up I didn't even know existed. Recently you did that. I don't even know what it was. But yeah, it's good to know. So yeah, we already talked about this to a degree about, are there gay Barbies and Kens? We talked about gay Bob, but what about gay Barbies and Kens?
So I think there are a lot of dolls that are sort of iconic in the gay community. I think most queer people probably know about Earring Magic Ken. I actually brought him out. He's sitting up here in the purple vest.
Okay.
Behind me. But he had an accessory that looks very much like a cock ring that was on his vest, and it was supposed to be for earring play so that you could attach earrings to it and charms and things like that. But it's very gay coded. I mean, most people have a hard time believing that there wasn't somebody in the know at Mattel at the time who was sort of making these tongue-in-cheek. Yeah, gay code, right. Understatement for that. Sugar Daddy is also, I think, one that people are more familiar with now that the movie came out, because the movie parodied him. He was a Palm Springs sugar daddy, and he had white hair. And he looked very affluent, and he had this nice, beautiful jacket and his little dog. But he would say, "No, I'm not a sugar daddy. I'm Sugar's daddy." Sugar was the name of his dog. But so people like that. But I also really like to say that I also really like to say that Mattel has made dolls of many different gay celebrities and gay sports figures and things like that. Mm-hmm. But I have the only one that I kind of think is like the gayest of them all. Last year, or actually this year in 2024, they made a one-of-a-kind doll of Kate McKinnon, who played Weird Barbie in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
But they did her in an outfit that she wore on the red carpet or on the pink carpet from a gay designer. But what I love about it, and she's actually, if Joe's watching me there, she's here behind me in the pink, but her label on the inside is labeled Gay Barbie.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, it actually says Gay Barbie on the label inside her vest. So as far as I know, she's the only one that officially has a Gay Barbie label.
Now I want to get her. And that's another thing you probably know ahead of time. Like by the time I find out there's a really good Barbie, like Stevie Nicks came out and they're gone. They're just gone. It goes so quickly. Do you get know about it ahead of time?
There are a lot of leaks in the doll community and a lot of stuff gets around and things that aren't supposed to get out. And, so I think most of the hardcore collectors are in the know and they're ready. But, and you're right. It can absolutely be really frustrating and very hard to get a doll that's really popular that you really want. It seems like it happens every day. But
oh my God.
Yeah. That's part of it. You just have to let it go at some point and say, I can't have everything. I can't.
It's hard. The one thing that I struggle with is the share with the whip from her concert.
Share.
I am so angry. And when you get online, it's $2,000 to $3,000. Those guys are, who's ever selling it, I get it. But $2,000 to $3,000, it's because they only made a limited edition.
Right. They made less than 1,000 of that doll. She was originally sold on Toys R Us website for $35. And she went super fast. And her price has been pretty high ever since.
I know.
Yeah. I actually had that doll at one point, and I hate to say this, but we just didn't bond. Like, I don't know what it was. I liked her, but I looked at her and I couldn't stomach what I paid for her. Which I don't even remember what it was. It was probably $1,000 or something at the time. And she just wasn't worth it to me. So I rehomed her. I'm like, you're going to find someone that will love you and appreciate you.
I love this.
And I'm going to get my money back.
Yes. Well, the reason I didn't get it is I didn't like it at first. And I actually went to her Las Vegas. My husband and I went to Las Vegas and they were selling it there. And I was like, But now that I can't have it, I want it.
Wow. Yeah. Story of my life. That's how all collectors are. That would have been amazing, though, to buy it at her show. Wow.
I know. It was there. I swear I remember it. But I had all the rest of them. And I remember, well, we could go on and on about Cher. All right. So who is Build Lily?
Build Lily was the precursor to Barbies, actually the doll that inspired Barbie. So to go back for a second, there was a German newspaper called The Bild, and they had a comic character there called Lily, who was in very racy, male-centric, misogynistic cartoons because this was the mid-50s. And she was hugely popular in Europe. So they actually made novelty toys of her, of dolls that were meant for grown cis hetero men to buy and say, oh, look, I have this sexy doll from the little cartoon. Ruth Handler was on vacation in Switzerland and saw that doll, and ultimately it inspired Barbie. And if you look at them, it's very, very clear where Barbie comes from. She's basically a copy of them. So much so that the owners of the Lily comic strip actually sued Mattel in 1961, and they later settled a couple years out of court. Yeah. But Mattel kept that aspect of Barbie pretty quiet until I'd say probably the last 10 years. They always denied that she had anything to do with it.
Oh, well, isn't there something in the movie about that or no?
Yeah, they did mention it in the movie. Mattel does tend to downplay it because she was a sex toy, basically. But, look at Barbie. I mean, come on.
Yeah, right. I know. And then they got rid of pregnant Barbie. Am I right about that? She was in the movie.
That was Midge, her best friend. Yeah, pregnant Midge. Yeah.
But then somebody came after them, right, to get rid of it.
When that all came out I think it was the early 2000s, she was very controversial because she was pregnant, because, people have an issue with that. And some people said it's because she didn't wear a wedding ring. So Mattel quickly shifted and added a little gold band to the doll. They just painted it on. Even though she was married, she was having a family. She had other kids, but people just didn't seem to like it. People they get puritanical for the strangest reasons to me.
I know.
It's just a doll. It's just a doll.
I know. I thought it was cute and it was a good idea. Is the collecting community different on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok?
Wow, so different. Totally different. I think on Facebook tends to be for the boomer generation, Gen X. Instagram's a little more millennial, Gen X, and then TikTok is definitely Gen Z, Gen Alpha. Obviously there are all different people from all different ages on all of these apps, but those are the ones that sort of tend to dominate. And it follows those generational lines. I think on Facebook, I hate to say it, but I think the community there is a little more negative towards Barbie. Just in general, they collect, but there's a lot of complaining about what could have been and what should have been and how much things cost and that sort of stuff. And that's how I ended up on TikTok, honestly. Like, I wanted Barbie to be my place of joy. I wanted it to be a positive thing. And that's why I fell in love with it. I went there and I could post a video and people would just ooh and ah and say, oh my God, she's so pretty. I love it. And that's all I wanted to do. A lot of people wonder what do you do with Barbies as a collector? We sit and we play like, no, but you take pictures and you share them with your friends and you post stories and you unbox things and you make videos, and it's just a way to connect with other people.
Yeah, and it gives them a little bit of a life to you, a relationship with, like you said, you didn't bond with that one share doll. There's a bonding that has to happen.
Yeah, for sure. If I don't like a doll, then they have to find somewhere else to go. And collecting tastes change over time. The way I've collected has certainly evolved over the last 25 plus years that I've been collecting. And that's why I have 1,000 dolls that need to find new homes in the garage.
Oh, like how has it changed?
I think in the beginning, I was much more focused on, I consider myself a Ken collector at heart, and I think I still am. In fact, the first year that I was collecting, I only bought Ken dolls. I didn't buy Barbie because Barbie was for girls. Why would I want a Barbie? I just wanted the boys because I'm gay. I just want Ken. But then in 1999, the Wonder Woman Barbie came out, the first one ever, and that broke the floodgates open for me. Once I had her, then I just went and I bought everything.
I love this. I'm smiling and laughing because you have no idea how nice it is. I don't think I've ever talked directly to somebody else who loved Barbies the way I do. I mean, you love them a bit more than me, but never. Most people tolerate listening to me. They don't share what I feel.
Yeah, that's pretty common. I mean, that's the great thing about, we were talking earlier about conventions and stuff. And when you go there, it might be 800 strangers, but you all have something big in common. You all love Barbie, and you can always talk about that. No matter where you're in the elevator, you're sitting in the lobby, whatever you're doing, you have at least one thing in common.
Yeah, right. So talk about your travels to these Barbie events. Well, your world travels. What have they been like?
It's actually been pretty great. I've been fortunate enough to attend some events overseas. This year, I went to the Tokyo Fashion Doll Convention, which was a lot of fun. It was amazing. I've been to Milan a couple times. That's put on by a couple friends. And all these are officially sanctioned by Mattel. They're not run by Mattel. They're fan run, but they are licensed by Mattel. You have to have a contract and they have to approve everything. And it's very complex, but it really is a lot of fun. And it's great to go to these other places and meet people. I always say it's just like a big party. That's all. In the United States, there's one called the National Barbie Doll Collectors Convention, which is 800 to 1,000 people. It lasts about a week. And I always say it's, 800 menopausal women and gay men just getting drunk together for the week.
It sounds so much fun.
Yeah, it really is. There's nothing like it. It is fun. And it's nice because since the pandemic, it has shifted a little bit more. And with Barbie's social media presence really blowing up the last few years, she is much more of a presence. And the crowd is getting younger at those conventions. They're absolutely dominated by middle-aged women in their 60s and 70s and up. There are people of all ages, of course, but the core group is quite a bit older. So it's been nice to see the last couple of years that these young social media people coming in and having fun and making their own place in it, because otherwise, it can't last forever.
Right. Now, you've been chosen twice, as you said, by Mattel for its Collectors Advisory Council. What is that?
So that's really every collector's dream. I wish they still did it. They ran that program for many years. They basically would pick you would fill out an application and they would pick 8 collectors from across the country, fly them into El Segundo in LA, where Mattel headquarters are. And you basically have your dream fantasy Willy Wonka day at Barbie. Oh. You get to see how the dolls are made. You get to know the design process. You get to meet all the designers. You get a full tour of Mattel, and you get to see everything that's coming out for the next year and a half, and give feedback on it. That's really the main part, is to sort of give one-on-one feedback. But I was fortunate enough to do it twice, and it was absolutely amazing. Like, two of the best days of my life, for sure.
Did you watch the reality show where they did the houses in Barbie? Do you remember that? HGTV did the Barbie and Ken? Yeah, did you like that?
Yeah, that was really fun. I had a couple friends that were on the show in different roles. I knew some of the people. I actually got invited to visit the house after the filming was over, before they tore it down. So I was able to see it in person, and that was really a lot of fun.
That's what I thought, that you might have been a part of it in some way. They tore it down?
Yeah, it was temporary. Once the filming was all done and stuff, then they took everything down and put it back to its regular, and it's here in LA. If anybody, wants to visit it, there's really nothing to see. It's not even anymore, I don't think.
Wow, that's terrible. I didn't know that. Because I was just thinking about how Laverne Cox said, when they made her into a Barbie, she said, "I used to play with Barbies, and now I am a Barbie." And I was like, oh, I love that. I don't know why they don't make a Barbie out of RuPaul. Did they?
One of Mattel's biggest collectors, called Integrity Toys, has made several RuPaul dolls.
I have them.
They're not Barbie, but they are. RuPaul has never been officially a Barbie.
She needs to be, though. It took Diana Ross. No, it didn't. They did her in the 70s. It doesn't look anything like her, even in the 70s. But the later one, the one I have up there, looks just like her. Do you agree?
Yeah, for sure. Well, see, the one behind you, I think that came out in the early 2000s. Diana Ross was the first. That was the first one that Mattel did. The other ones, I think, were done by Mego.
Oh, you're right. You're right. That was not a Barbie. You're right.
It might have been Mattel, but I think it was Mego.
Yeah, no, you're right. Even the Cher wasn't Cher even Mego?
Yeah, Cher was definitely Mego, and I love those dolls too. They have their own charm. I love 70s celebrities. I have a lot of those. I think that's how you and I first really bonded, right? Talking about Christy McNichol dolls and
yes,
all kinds of strange things like that. But
and the Captain and Tennille doll. We could go on and on.
Yeah.
You also received the Barbie's Best Friend Award for your contributions to the Barbie community. What are your contributions?
So that was really nice. That was a really special day. The Barbie's Best Friend Award is an award given by Carol Spencer, who was a longtime designer at Mattel. And it's been tradition for 40 years for her to present it to someone in the community at convention every year. It's like getting a Lifetime Achievement Award. It's really nice. I think mine was mainly because I was the chair of the convention in 2020 when the pandemic hit. And then suddenly everything got canceled and we had to pivot, the last few months. And we ended up being able to pack and ship everybody's swag out because at these conventions, Mattel usually provides a doll free, which is really nice. You have gifts, you have souvenirs, you have all sorts of stuff. It was quite intense and quite a journey. It took my life for many, many months. And luckily, I had a lot of great Barbie friends that came together over the last several weekends to help ship all that stuff out. We shipped out more than 1,200 packages.
Wow.
Yeah. And they weren't all identical. Each one was different. So it was quite an undertaking because, we got to make sure that people get their doll. If we all think back to 2020, it was a sad time. It was very isolating. It was very hard. It was new for everyone. It was very stressful. And I really wanted to do that with my other co-chairs. My partner did it with me. And luckily we were able to do that. So it was nice to be recognized for that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Right. I think you should be recognized. I think you should have a TV show. I've always thought that because your videos are like a TV show and you do them. They're very educational. They're entertaining and they're informative.
Well, thank you.
What would you like in the last few minutes we have here? Any final things you want people to know about you or your Barbies?
No, I think I just want people to follow their bliss. I know it's a cliche, but I'm a big believer. Cliches are cliche for a reason, right? Do what makes you happy. Because I spent so many years just going up and down the toy aisle and looking at all the different things. And I kept up with it all. But I'm a grown man. I can't buy that. But if you get over that stigma, because the only person that really cares, nobody cares. That's the point.
That's true.
Buy yourself a doll. There are worse things in the world to spend your money on. Buy yourself a doll. Have fun. Buy, whatever it is that makes you happy. That's what you should do because life is short.
Right. Well, you don't have the same history I had. I was shamed, so bullied and shamed by my own family and by my friends who Joe wants to play Joey. I was called wanted to play with dolls, and there was something wrong, and I was called Fagala and all these terrible names. And so it took me a long time to finally say, "Fuck it, I like dolls. I do, and I always did, and I'm going to play with them. I'm going to have them."
Exactly. Fuck it. That's the short version. That's what you should be saying.
Yes.
If you like it, play with them. Yeah.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you so much for being on my show, and it was a pleasure. And hopefully, we'll do maybe again. We'll have you back. I don't know. Talk about more things. If our listeners want to learn more about you and collecting Barbies, how do they find you?
My biggest account is on TikTok. I'm at but call me Jim. URRGGH, but call me Jim. You can also find me on Instagram at URRGGH.
Why did you name yourself that?
I always tell people it's like when Charlie Brown would kick the football and miss it. But in reality, it was a Sublime song, which, is very 90s of me. But
oh, all right. Okay. I didn't know. I'll have to look up the song. All right. So you can hear more of my podcasts at smartsexsmartlove.com. And you can also follow me on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. And you can go to joekort.com, JOEKORT. All of my social media is at Dr. Joe Kort. And thanks for listening. And until next time, stay safe and stay healthy.